What is the journey from 85th percentile to the 99th or the 100th percentile like?
So that's where the IMS pedagogy comes into play.
They know they're supposed to read, but they don't necessarily do it.
What would you like to tell about this program?
This program can easily take a child from a 0 to 85 percentile.
What about the focus program, ma'am?
So the focus program is going to use a flipped classroom model. The student should come to class with some degree of comfort with the basic concepts.
Hello everyone, welcome to this very special video wherein we are going to launch our two online programs. So we thought that there are broadly two types of aspirants who exist and they need a separate program so as to achieve their goal of cracking CAT 2024. And that's why we decided to come up with two new online programs. One is called Catapult Extensive and the other is called Catapult Focused, which will focus on these two separate category of aspirants and will help them on their journey to cracking CAT. Now to discuss more about these programs, we have two very special guests with us today. We have Kumud ma'am and we have Amit sir who will be talking about these programs. So to start with, we'll try to understand what the Catapult Extensive program is like, who is it meant for and what exactly is the pedagogy behind this program. So Amit sir, what would you like to tell about this program?
So Shashank, as you just said that there are two different types of aspirants, So there is an aspirant, even though I don't want to label them, but there is one aspirant who's always been that one who's scared of maths. We've all heard of such students, and even the students would agree that there is a category, the ones who fear maths or don't like maths, haven't done too well at their 10th standard or haven't touched maths after 10th standard. Maybe it's 4 or 5 years you haven't done too much of maths. And I would say for such students, and I'm not saying only maths, the same could go for English also. For such students, the extensive program will definitely be a boon. See, let me also give you the reasoning for the same. The extensive program will cover things right from the basic. So we're talking about going from level 0, doing each and every concept in class, explaining the logic behind the concept, and then doing the questions in class. Everyday touch point, having lectures 5 to 6 times a week, having some revisers in between. This will really help the students. So I believe such students, who haven't done too well at maths or fear maths, for them the extensive program definitely is a boon because they are covering every concept in class and also the whole class exercise. Each and every question is being discussed in class, and then obviously they can move ahead with their practice exercises or whatever. That would happen for quant. For DILR, I would say that, we would start with simpler sets, look at the sets in a much more refined manner in form of, looking at how should you actually solve it. It's not just the solution, but how should you actually go about solving it. So we are basically giving you that much more time. Maybe we'll not take 4 sets in a class, maybe only 2 sets in a class, and give you that much more time in terms of doing everything with you very slowly. As I would say, it is guided practice would be the right word. You're doing practice so you're solving the sets or the questions with the mentors, and I think that would be the way quant and DLR would be delivered in this program. For verbal, I think Kumud can add some value.
Right. So for verbal, what happens is that everyone knows they're supposed to read. They know they're supposed to read, but they don't necessarily do it. And that's completely understandable because frankly, reading is not all that interesting for everyone. So what we are going to do in the extensive program is something similar to what Amit sir talked about. We will start off with easier level passages and then take them through moderate difficulty passages all the way to fairly complex ones. But the purpose here is not only to expose students to passages of different difficulty levels, it is also to ensure that they do a basic minimum number. So for example, let's say that if someone tells you have to read an article every day, maybe you read today, maybe you don't read tomorrow. But if you are attending a class every day, then you're definitely reading some text every day, you're definitely answering some questions every day. Right? So that at least ensures that you get to a certain level. If you want to progress beyond that level, yes, they'll have to put in some effort on their own. But we will ensure that you're reading in a structured fashion, you're answering a variety of questions, and in addition to that, we will definitely also cover the verbal ability bit, where practice is key. So when you have a touch point every day, to some extent, the discipline of reading and solving is inculcated. So that is what this program will do for the VARC issues.
So I think, this program can easily take a child from a 0 to 85 percentile. So I would assume that when somebody joins us for this program, he does not know anything. And he can easily go from 0 to 85 percentile And obviously to go beyond 85, there'll be a lot of tools. We have a lot of other things which are available in our portal, which the child can start solving for.
So sir, how long will this program last? How many sessions will be there? What exactly will be the flow and so on?
So we're looking at a program with around 120 to 125 sessions, approximately of 2 hours each. Should take you roughly 6 months to finish the program, leaving you with enough time to solve your SIMCATs and everything, and that whole season for practice. There's still enough time left behind.
So again, if you have to understand, the extensive program will take someone from a 0th percentile to an 85th percentile, someone who does not really have a background in terms of quantitative aptitude or verbal ability, and that should help a lot of these aspirants who are there, right? What about the focus program, ma'am? What do you think is the focus program all about? Whom is it going to benefit, and what exactly is going to be the flow?
Right. So the focus program is for the slightly more focused student. This is a student who has probably attained some degree of proficiency, not necessarily in all 3 areas, but is definitely a little comfortable in these areas. In terms of quantitative factors, maybe this is a student who has already taken the CAT or some other exam, has attained maybe an 80 percentile or so. So this is a student who doesn't want to start from the basics. They are comfortable with that level, but they do need some guidance to go from that 80 to maybe a 90 or a 95 and so on, right? So the focus program is going to use a flipped classroom model. The student should come to class with some degree of comfort with the basic concepts. Now here, we're not saying that you're supposed to know everything. We will still have these pre-class videos accessible to the student can go through them, but the onus is going to be on the student to ensure that they do not come empty-handed. Now, once they come to class, the mentor is going to ensure that these basic concepts are applied to solving enough questions. That part we are going to do. So, if I have to really sum it up, the focus program is meant for someone who does not want to spend all their time in class. They know that they need help, but they don't need the mentor to handhold them through everything. Now, if I look at it in terms of a timeline, the focus program is going to take about 4 months, not necessarily 6 months. So you can afford to start a little bit later, and if you choose to start earlier, it will leave you with enough time to focus on your practice and your tests.
So as we were saying, if I just want to add a little bit to the pre-class videos and all, we have a huge repository of videos available for each and every concept which, say, a child would need for quantitative ability or DILR or for verbal. So we have those concept videos, and they will be mapped to each chapter or to each lecture, as I would say, in these programs. And also to add that it is not that these videos will be available only to the extensive students. They will also be available to the, not only to the focus student, but also to the extensive students. So that's not a problem. Even the students who join us in the extensive program can use these videos, so that nothing stops them from revising and coming a little bit. But obviously in the focus program, we expect you to do it. So basically we will not start from the basics. We will not do each and every small concept. Yes, maybe a difficult concept we will still cover in class. I'm not saying that we will not cover concepts at all, but the difficult ones will be covered in class, and the focus will be more on solving problems rather than actually discussing concepts. So you will actually solve more problems, and hence the importance of knowing the concepts is very high.
All right. So we spoke about the concepts, we spoke about how people go from a 0 to an 85th percentile, particularly in case of the extensive program. How do people go beyond that? So what is the journey from 85th percentile to the 99th or the 100th percentile like?
So that's where the IMS pedagogy comes into play. So we have the class exercise which we are doing in class, right? Now beyond that comes the practice exercise. This is where you solve similar level questions which you've done in the class exercise with your mentor. Do the practice exercise, move on to benchmarking tests. These benchmarking tests are per chapter. Now that's very important. Every chapter has a benchmarking test. That test really tells you that where you are. And based on more AI simulated questions, you can keep solving more questions around the same. So if you feel that you want to solve more questions around a particular chapter, you can keep solving that also. So that is also definitely available to you. So benchmarking test, post which you have the module test. Now in a benchmarking test, you're solving only one chapter. Say it's very easy to identify a question of HCF LCM if it is in the chapter of HCF LCM. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, because when we look at awareness, students are not able to identify in a geometry question time, speed, distance, or vice versa. So that's where the module test comes into play, where you have now a couple of more chapters merged together, and hence the module test comes into play. And then obviously the SIMCATs, or which takes you really from the 85 percentile, I think, to even to the 99 or the 99.99 percentile, where SimCalcs covers each and every area of your preparation.
So sir, since you mentioned this journey from the 80th to the 99th percentile, one of the concerns that a lot of students have is that there are always surprises on D-days. For example, we saw that in CAT 23, Quant threw up a few surprises, right?
Definitely,
it was slightly more challenging than what we expected. Now, that could happen for other sections as well. It's not as if the pattern will definitely be repeated, but we should always be prepared. What are we doing for that exactly? Is there something that we can prepare the students for?
Yes, so we have a lot of master classes as a part of all our programs. So these master classes are keeping in mind the level of difficulty of CAT 2023. And as Kumud ma'am mentioned, again, a lot of people thought that algebra was the one that was slightly more difficult compared to all other areas that were tested at CAT 2023. But you never know, right? So there could be a year wherein VARC becomes extremely difficult and the other sections are maybe manageable. There might be a year when DILR becomes even more difficult compared to whatever it is right now. So to address those kind of situations so that you're not caught unawares, we have these chain of master classes which we have planned for. So we have 20 master classes that will be a part of all our CAT 24 programs, wherein we will be discussing questions that are of the level of difficulty that appeared at CAT 2023 and what would happen in case the same level of difficulty gets repeated across the other areas as well. So that's what is going to happen. Now these master classes are recommended for students to be gone through if or once they are done with their regular flow of classes, right? So they will be released after each module, but it is recommended that once the student goes through the entire journey, after that maybe the students will be better equipped to deal with the concepts that are tested at the master classes, purely because a lot of these questions will have overlapping concepts. So as Amit sir mentioned, right, there could be a question which involves geometry and time, speed and distance. Now if someone knows what time, speed and distance is all about but has not really had a good hold on concepts from geometry, then that student might find it difficult. So master classes will come into the picture in that journey from that 85th percentile to that 99th percentile, and they will prepare all the candidates for all the kind of surprises that they can come across. So that is something that we have built into the program.
So I also believe these master classes, we'll be also doing them live with the batches, live online batches and all. So these master classes will actually be done with you all in class, and hence that understanding of how to tackle those difficult level questions. Maybe, it will be different for the two different programs. So the extensive program, maybe we would do it at the end of the program, because I said this this audience which is there would require that much more time to reach the 85th percentile, while the students in the focus program would already start maybe at a 75 or 80 percentile, and hence maybe they can do it at the end of every module also. So that much difference will be there between the two programs there also, I believe.
So to sum it up, the programs are going to follow the IMS pedagogy that we have already spoken about. So as Amit sir mentioned, there is a bit of theory that will be a part of your courseware. There will also be concept videos which you can have a look at before the class, followed by the actual class that is going to happen. So for focused, it's more or less going to be a flipped pedagogy or flipped classroom model, wherein you are expected to have a look at the theory bit of things before you turn up for the class. And for the extensive batches, we will be talking about concepts in a much more detailed manner, because we believe that these students need that kind of support to start their preparation for the CAT. Now, once we go ahead in terms of what happens inside the class, there will be questions that will be solved inside the class, but they will involve or they will have some involvement from the mentor's side as well, wherein they will help you start solving a particular question. Once you are on your own, there will be practice exercises which you will have to start solving on your own. So that is where you will start solving questions independently, and that is the whole goal of preparing for the test. Now to help you along this journey, we also have video solutions for the practice exercises that are there, which will help you understand whether you are applying your concepts in the manner that they are intended to be or not. Then comes the benchmarking tests, wherein every topic will be followed by a benchmarking test, which will assess your capability and will help you scale up your capability. So we are calling it from beginner to ninja level. So that is where you have to end when it comes to every topic, or to have that ability when it comes to every topic that exists. Now beyond that, you will have your module test that will be there, which will help you apply your conceptual knowledge and your application skills under the presence of a timer when it comes to multiple sections. And then finally, when it comes to the SimCalcs, you will be applying these skills again under the presence of a timer, again competing with a lot of other people who may or may not have taken CAT before. and again when it comes to jumping from one section to the next. So that is basically going to be the last bit of preparation wherein your skills will be tested, whatever you have learned throughout your entire journey. Now, who will be conducting these sessions? So if you look at the screen now, we have a list of all the mentors who will be teaching these online batches, be it in terms of focused batches or extensive batches. You can have a look at their profile, their credentials, and of course these will be the core team who will be delivering these sessions. So rest assured you are in safe hands. Now the details of these programs have been mentioned in the description box below, so you are free to check it out. There are certain waivers that are applicable, so you can just check if you are eligible for certain waivers, and you can sign up for the programs using the links that we have in the description box below. If you have any comments, any queries that you have in terms of these programs, feel free to post them in the comment section below, and we'll be more than happy to help you with your queries, be it in terms of what the programs are like, or be it in terms of general queries that you might have in terms of your profile or your preparation strategy. I hope to see you, a lot of you, attending these programs and deriving the most benefit from these programs. So wish you all the best with your preparation, and thank you for joining us for this wonderful discussion. And thank you again, Amit sir. Thank you again, Kumul ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.